So thank you for listening to that. And we have as a guest today to make the introduction to Dr. Garcia, and that is Yari. And she comes to us with a personal story of immigration, legal immigration in the United States, and kind of the issues that she faces and her ties to Dr. Garcia. And so we turn it over to Yari to...
Thank you. I'm pretty loud by nature, so maybe I do this. It's good that I use it so you can understand me. Please listen. I do have a very slight accent. And so, that's right, from Texas. So thankful to be here, surrounded by all of you like-minded individuals. And it's a very great feeling. It's a feeling that can't describe too easy. I only have 5 minutes. For a Spanish person, if you're familiar with the culture, that could mean 10. But I will do my best to stay in time. It's a feeling that it inspires freedom. One of the reasons why I left Cuba many years ago. Tonight I can talk to you about my journey, my political journey, escaping the communist regime of Cuba. But I choose not to do so, and I will choose to tell you what I was seeking when I left the island of Cuba in 2003. I wrote it down so that I can stay on point. Otherwise, I'll go on and on and on, and you'll go like, okay, land the plane, though I was not taking a plane when I came. I dream about a government where I could express my difference of opinions in unity without the fear of being incarcerated or abused because I did not agree with the regime. I dreamed that I could vote. How many of you have voted? I did mine. Yes. And I sent my husband to the boxes, very protective of my ballot. And so he did it, and I'm thankful for that. I dream of a government where education system was a top priority, where we can groom the next generations to come in the principles that can make a country great. When I'm talking about Cuba, and I dream of a government that I can choose my own career path, not what the government says I can do. I dream of a government that would invest to keep families safe from the crazy things of this world. We have too many things that are crazy in this world today, but I'm talking about drug abuse. I'm talking about crime. I dream of that government. I had a dream of a government that runs its economy in a way that protects and cherishes its people, educates them, and do not victimize them. We can do it. We're not victims. I dream of this government that cares and keeps us safe. This, in so many areas, was the America that I met when I first came. And I know we can do it again, united, because united we are stronger. We can face so many issues when we are in unity. We can agree to disagree. It's okay. I have lived it firsthand. It's not pretty when we don't agree. I feel so relieved that I have joined the Western Washington moderates. As to be honest with you, I learned how to pronounce the word moderates tonight. My good friend told me how to say it, and so I'm glad she did. I hope you understood it, but it don't mean mothers, it means moderates. So anyways, united, we are stronger, and I know that. That leaves me my great privilege to introduce to you a fellow ABC. That's a new term for you. American-born Cuban. American-born Cuban fellow that has an amazing heart for a better United States of America. Free of drugs and drug dealers. An accomplished doctor who has experienced firsthand the tragedy of death, homelessness, and all the destruction that drug abuse and drug use brings to our schools, our homes, our country, our states, our houses, our friends, our neighbors, our family. Our future senator, with a heart for education among many things that will make a country way greater than we are. If you could please give me 1 minute, and we'll address the Spanish community. I promise you I'm not mad at you. I'm just going to speak in Spanish for 30 seconds. Estoy llamando a todos los latinos del estado de Washington, a todas las personas que hablan español. Si tienen el poder de votar, les introduzco hoy al doctor, un doctor maravilloso que se preocupa por nuestras familias, nuestros hijos, nuestras escuelas, el crimen en nuestra ciudad, el crimen en nuestro estado. Y yo, por favor, les pido con el corazón abierto que vote esta noche, que su voto sí tiene la diferencia. Y es importante para todos los ciudadanos americanos que hablamos español que votemos. Y si usted no puede votar, es ok, porque si usted conoce a alguien, usted tiene que estudiar, entender por dónde viene este candidato para nuestro senador representando el estado de Washington. Búsquelo en la internet y entienda su corazón para que vea que está a favor de todas las comunidades americanas, latinoamericanas y americanos. Él se preocupa por nuestras vidas. Yo les pido por favor que voten esta noche. No further ado, I would like to introduce you a wonderful, wonderful candidate for our Senator, Raul Garcia. Dr. Raul Garcia.
Well, after that, I don't know that I could do much better. So thank you. I'll take questions now. No. That's really significant that I'm here in the Western Washington moderates. Not too long ago, I went to a wedding, and the person that I was sitting with at the table said, well, there's a rumor that you're very radical. So I looked over and Peter was sitting at the next table and I said, Peter, can you come over here, please, and give your opinion of my radicalism? And Peter thankfully said to the lady, he's probably one of the most moderate people we have in the state of Washington. So it's significant to me that I'm here, and I thank you, and it's an honor to be here. I'm running to be your next United States Senator. And we just heard one immigrant's passion for what she wanted in America, for what she was looking for in America. And if you think about it, what is America? What is America? America is the union of all these people that came from all over the world with a fire inside of them looking for something great. In that intention, we created the greatest country in the world. And we want to preserve it. We want to make it better for our kids. We don't want to put our future under credit card. We want to open opportunities for them to succeed more than we did, right? Every generation, in my experience of America, that is exactly what we feel. So and that's why I'm here. Because I came from a place that didn't have that. That didn't have the freedom to speak. That didn't have the freedom to be an individual, to make decisions for yourself and your family. The government made it for you. My family had a tobacco plantation in Cuba, had a dairy farm. But the government knew best, so they took it from us. And make no mistake, the ideology is you will own nothing and you will depend on the government. And there's a lot of people out there that are okay with that. But I am not. And I will fight with every inch of me for that never to happen in the United States of America. You know, let's talk about individual freedoms, because when I was in 4th grade, so you get a picture just for a second of what it was like. When I was in 4th grade, they asked us to put our heads down and ask God for candy. And candy didn't appear when we brought our heads back up. And the teacher said, now, put your heads back down and ask Fidel Castro for candy. And candy appeared on every desk. And she said, this is so you clearly understand that the only God in this world is your government. They use education to indoctrinate the youth. And they use the media to indoctrinate the adults. Does that sound familiar? That's why I'm here. My story is Mr. Smith goes to Washington. I don't like what my family's going through and what I see outside my door, so I want to change it. What it created in me in Cuba was a love for a country that I had never stepped foot on. America. The American dream. That you, with grit and dedication, that you could do anything. That you could go into any career path. We screamed at the top of our lungs at school, because we had to, how bad the imperialist Yankees were. And then we went home to listen to the radio to see if the New York Yankees won, because that was the only team we knew about. So we loved America before getting here. And I'm one of the lucky ones. She is too. To come here, to have the opportunity to study, to become a physician, to become a medical leader in my profession, to run national boards, to get elected to national offices and run national organizations, to own my own business, this little farmer from Cuba. My family will tell you I was never a farmer. I moved to Havana and I always lived in the city, but let's stick with the fact that I was born in a farm, okay? That's the American dream. That's what we not only have to preserve, but we have to make it stronger. Because that's how we love our family. Do you know how important family is? Family is where it starts and it ends. It's my wife's birthday today. And she told me, you have to go. You have to make it real. You have to make it happen. And we can't let a birthday get in the way. That is true grit. Right? 185 miles I walked from Toppenish to Seattle. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. But it has to show people that we are willing to walk the walk. Too many politicians sit up here and talk and tell you what's wrong. And then they get elected into office and forget that we are your servants. Dave Riker said that. We're going to have a government that serves the people instead of the other way around. We're going to have a government of facts. I'm a scientist. I am trying to come into politics to bring my scientific mind and say, no, according to results, this $100 million is being wasteful. Let's give it back to the people. So, for me, there is no bigger crisis than a human being dying every 4 minutes and 50 seconds right now in this country of fentanyl. And that's why I did that walk. Because truly, as your next United States Senator, I want to eliminate the supply completely. And because I'm a physician, I could assure you that the only way that addiction rehabilitation will work is with involuntary mandatory rehab. Dave talked about the economy. We all have our minds on it. I have 4 children that try to put gas every month. I have one of them here. They always call me, can you help me out with gas? Because even our oldest that's married, 2 incomes, a daughter, sometimes they cannot reach the end of the month. That is where we're living. That is not our country, guys. We need to get in there into the federal government and do an audit of our spending and say, we are going to cut the fat. But most importantly, I'm here because I want to be the United States Senator for Washington State. I want you to wake up in the morning and understand that there is a guy 3,000 miles away that actually cares about your family. Because I'm doing this for mine and for yours. And I will come to Kirkland. It's actually the second time I've been in this facility. Because I will listen. And you may not agree with me 100% of the time. Everything in moderation, even moderation itself. But you will be proud that I listen and that I represent you. And that is really important. So for me, that's America. We need to make it better for our children. The job of the government is to open resources, take away obstacles, and educate the public so you have all the resources you need to make your own decision as an adult for yourself and your family. And have a better life for your children. Listen, guys, I am going to be your next United States Senator, so I'm going to cut my speech short and let you ask me about anything. Because I could talk here for 6 hours and I'll still not hit a question that you have on your mind. But what I want you to know is that we, with intention, could do this. This is the very first year, and I don't know how long, that the Seattle City Journal endorsed me over Maria Cantwell. I think people are ready. You want to see my intention? I carry a United States Senate coin in my pocket. And I'm going to go through a wall for you if I have to. And it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or an independent or a libertarian. What it matters is that you're a citizen of this state and you want a better life for your family. And that is what I'm going to work day and night in. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor. I'm sure we all have questions. We'll go back to
Yeah.
the last question. Will be the first question this time. Last person. Go ahead.
Andy.
So we're in Eagles Lodge. As U.S. Senator, what are you going to do to fix the still not all there VA system?
Well, for the last 26 years, I've been an emergency medicine physician. And what I didn't say in my speech, I had the honor to work for Senator Bob Dole. And he's the one that instilled this love in me for public service, where you can actually do a lot with every decision. And my love of service has not changed from being a physician. But I used to help a patient or their families. Now it's a community, a state, and a country. In the 26 years that I've been in the emergency department, there has not been a veteran that has come into my emergency department and said, the VA system is great. Fantastic. First of all, I want to thank every veteran in here. And yes. And my goal is to revamp the $280 billion VA system so every veteran and their families could get their health care at any of their choosing, clinic or hospital, without any obstacles. Obviously, healthcare is my wheelhouse, and we have a lot to fix, especially when my opponent ran on healthcare 6 years ago. Okay, look, we talked about facts, right? And I think that there's going to be a big difference. There's going to be a gaslighting campaign on the other side, and there's going to be facts scientifically from my side. She says she is the champion of women's health. I worked at 2 hospitals that closed OBGYN, and the senators did nothing. We have closures of OBGYN all over the state. If you're pregnant in Packwood, you have to go all the way to Chehalis to deliver. Okay? So let's stop the gaslighting. Women's health is worse today than 6 years ago. Okay? So we're going to change a lot of things, and one of those is that I feel that you should have the power instead of insurance companies, so you can choose any insurance company in the country to have your bid, and we're going to eliminate all these obstacles that you have to get an MRI and a CAT scan and the physician you want and so on and so forth. And you could bet that I'm going to work really day and night for that. So, more questions? Yes.
Hi, thanks for coming to King
Yeah.
County and running. So I'm a millennial, and I would say that most folks I know in my generation and in successive generations are particularly concerned about climate change.
Yeah.
And I would just say, from my perspective, it doesn't really seem, like, not saying that I necessarily agree with what the Democrats say about climate change and what should be done about it, but they do seem to be very vocal and fairly aligned on that issue. Whereas Republicans, they sort of seem to generally allow the Democrats to manage the narrative on that, and they're either silent or very minimal is said about it. And so it's a huge topic, you know, in terms of getting elected.
Sure.
So I was just curious, and sorry I don't know, but like, is there like a particular issue in that arena that you feel that you can get behind and kind of at least say, hey, like, this is, because I know a ton of Republicans who totally care about the environment, right? But it just doesn't seem to come out, and it's not like on the platform. So anyway, just curious what your thoughts are there.
So when I talked about America and making a better future for our children, the environment is there, right? We have to keep the environment healthy for our children. We live in one of the cleanest places in the world, okay? And as Republicans, you can't sit there and deny climate change. It's scientifically already proven that, you know, climate is changing. It always has, right? And what do we do to better our future with that? And for me, it's a balance between energy and protecting and being commonsensical about the protection of the environment. I think that we have feel-good environmentalists and actually do-good environmentalists. Okay? Coming out and saying, we're not going to have gas cars by the year 2030 is a throwaway comment. That it feels good to say that, that's never going to happen. Let's be scientific about this. This is why I want to bring facts, right? What's funny to me is that people in brick and mortar in Seattle want to teach the outdoor Eastern Washington people about the environment, right? It's kind of funny to me that they want to close the Snake River dams that have salmon ladders that pay money to cultivate salmon. But they don't talk about the Skagit River dams that don't have salmon ladders. Do you know why? Because the Skagit River dams directly go to Seattle Electric. I don't want to touch that. So let's not be convenient. Let's not be feel-good environmentalists. Let's actually do good. The Seattle Times asked me, how do you feel about opening up the Alaskan pipeline? I said, for as long as we depend on oil in this country, I would like to get the oil from us. We have the strictest rules to protect our environment, instead of trusting the Middle East, Venezuela, and Russia that could care less about the environment. So is the way that we can't fear that question. We have to hit it head on and speak the truth. And people will say, that's commonsensical. I mean, that's, right? Who here will say, oh, no, I don't care about the environment. I don't care about our kids. No, we all do. But we have to be very factual about it. You know, Inslee wanted to change the sound. We wanted to take nitrogen and phosphorus out of the sound to get more oxygen for fish, right? It would cost $26 billion. Now, the outcome was an increase in oxygen by 0.002%, which is a p-value of nothing. Like you're wasting $26 billion. So let's have a better answer, right? Let's not be feel-good environmentalists. Let's actually do good and be truthful and be factual. Yeah.
We have time for a couple more questions. Go ahead.
Hi, Dr. Garcia.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm so happy to hear what you're saying. Do you actually feel that mandatory treatment for fentanyl we could actually get that done, getting through all the loopholes and stuff? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, no, I think that it becomes federal law and the U.S. Attorney's Office will enforce it through each state.
Okay.
I have very good intel that even big Democrat government people in King County are very much for involuntary rehab. And I could tell you why. Your brain is telling you to lie, cheat, and steal to get that next fix or you're going to die. This is what your brain is telling you as an addict, okay? And that control will last 4 weeks from your last use.
Okay.
So these 30-day programs, that's why they don't work. You sit in a rehab facility, you open all these wounds in front of all the other addicts, and then they're like, oh, you're good, go to an AA meeting.
Yeah.
No, we need a comprehensive rehab program that has mental health, that has counseling, that has the rehab, and that has relationships with businesses, tech colleges, and even universities that want to take these graduates out of these programs. But you cannot have that dealer there when they come back.
Yeah. Great, thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm sure you're aware that HUD subsidizes low barrier housing. How do you feel about that? Because low barrier allows drug use, fentanyl use.
Right. So that's why I want to eliminate the supply. So one of the things that I want us to concentrate in is to not have knee-jerk reactions as the Democrats did to, hey, let's defund the police.
Yeah.
Okay. Not a good idea. All right? Right? So I saw a lot of presidential candidates saying, we're going to get rid of the Department of Education. That's a knee-jerk reaction. So again, bring in scientific mind into politics. Let's go to the HUD programs and see exactly what they're meant to do. And then show this is ineffective.
Right.
And this one in Missouri is actually effective, is doing what it has to do. Why are we failing here in Washington? Because of drugs and mental health. So we have to eliminate the root of the problem. So actually government programs do work in certain parts when properly used. And if it doesn't work, then you have to scrap it. So that's my feeling on it. And I have a fundamental belief that my job as a U.S. Senator is to make the governor of Washington succeed. And that Olympia's job should be to make every county succeed. And that the county's job should be to make every city succeed. Instead of mandating Mukilteo to have low-income housing.
I'm saying low barrier.
No, yes. But I'm giving you an example of mandates, right? Another city which complained about it. Like, we don't have a problem with that. Why are you forcing us to have this, right? So if you come here and your community doesn't need this, then it shouldn't be mandated that you have it. That's the example that I was trying to. Okay? We could talk more about it. Okay.
More questions? Bud?
Yes.
Yeah. To talk about fentanyl, it's the source that brings it into the country. And we all know the border is an issue with Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter. What can we do? What can you do when I support you?
Yeah.
To stop it. How do we stop the influx from Venezuela, from Central America coming through Mexico? How do we deal with Mexico to stop that product and people from coming to our country when the borders are wide open?
Right. So we started talking about America when we started, right? Every sovereign nation should have the right to dictate who comes in and out of their country. Period. There is no middle ground. When you stop being able to decide who comes in and out of your country, you're no longer a sovereign nation. And this is what we have. We have lack of discipline and lack of leadership at that border. And that has to stop, and I will vote 100% to stop it. All the time. Yeah. So there are those who feel that this is an attack on America. It's hard to argue it because right now in Yakima, fentanyl is 40 cents a pill. It is readily available for everybody to get killed. Okay? And it's something that we need to resolve. So the Americans Against Fentanyl Act, the more and more that we talk to colleagues in DC, to people here, will probably include the border. Because we have to resolve it. We live in a very embarrassing place for our government. We don't know who's coming in and out of our country, but the cartels do. They know exactly who's coming in and out of their country, and actually they keep tabs of these people that have crossed over. They need to pay them. So now you're not only talking about drugs, but you're talking about human trafficking, because these women that may come to Kirkland still have to pay that debt. And they will do anything to pay that debt.
Understanding
Yeah.
the problem, understanding what you're saying. What are we going to do?
Oh, we have to first.
How do we stop those governments from sending their people? How do we instill into the Mexican governments to say, stop bringing them across your country, because they're allowing them freely to walk from where they're coming from through their countries with water and food and to our borders, and allowing them to get in here. How do we convince that government to help us eliminate or reduce even more than they already do?
Because that government needs us. So we have a power play. And we will use it. This is the one place that I will say we do need the majority on the Senate for this. Because once we do that, then we have the gavel to go down there and say, our aid is out if you continue to do this. And we have to, because we have to protect our own. It's commonsensical to me. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, I don't mean to monopolize, but I have a question because for me, the best government is the least amount of government.
Right.
And
Okay.
I tend to be a little more libertarian.
I have some feelings about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So whenever our state has a crisis,
Yeah.
they create a committee
A new government.
and
Yeah.
it becomes a bureaucracy,
Yeah.
right? Homelessness.
Yeah.
And so it's a multi-billion-dollar bureaucracy, and there's no incentive to fix it, because if you fixed it, then all those people would be out of a job.
Very
right?
clear in my mind. Yes.
And we have more employees in the Seattle public school system than we do kids. Okay?
Oh,
So you
yeah.
have all these schools closing, and you have a huge bureaucracy. So many of the programs in the state, they're failing because of the bureaucracy.
So I would say that everything fails because of bureaucracy.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
great.
I am
We're on the same
I
page.
am a champion of the least government as possible. When I talk about doing an audit of the federal government, I am not talking about hiring the largest firm with 600,000 accountants to come. No, I want to hire the nerdy guy with the glasses that by himself sits there and looks over all that stuff. Effective government and bureaucracy is not effective government at all, anywhere you put it. So slicing, when I say slicing the fat, like a surgeon, I mean, seriously, I will push to get our government to be as little as possible and eliminate all this bureaucracy. In education, primarily, teachers have no power these days, okay? And I think we all agree that the power needs to be in the hands of the teacher and the parents instead of this fat layer that we have created in education.
I have one question kind of to wrap things up. What do you see as a strategy to beat Maria?
So I was in Anacortes with her last 10 days ago. Nobody knew she was there. I talked to the community. She came to pick up a check. I think people are ready because everybody that I talk to in King County, they say, oh, Patty Murray and that other senator.
Exactly.
Right? How long are we going to continue to vote for the backup quarterback that sits on the sidelines? I'm serious, guys. I'm going there to compete to be the starting quarterback in Washington. And I'm going to go compete to be one of the best senators in the country. I know that, hey, there's 99 narcissistic people out there, but, you know, that's what I'm going to do. You have to put your mind to it. You got to put your heart on it. And there's another word in Spanish that just means guts, okay? But there's the 3 C's, cabeza, corazón, and guts. And that's why you have, I mean, the best tennis player in the world, he put those 3 C's in as a tattoo. His grandfather told him, this is how you win in life. This is how you accomplish things. And that's how we're going to go in there. And moderate is the word. We don't need to go in there forcibly and say this is our will and we're going to do this as we have done for the last few years and has gotten us nowhere. We need to get people at the table. And I really believe that the more ideologies you have at the table, the better solution that you come up with. You have to be, ready for this? Inclusive of those people that are being affected. So then you have a better solution. So the goal for after the primary, I mean, the goal tomorrow is to get through the top 2. after the primary, we're going to join as teams. And we're going to present Washington with a team of people that actually is having fun doing this, that actually wants to do this for service. And we're going to attack that. The initiatives are going to help us tremendously in November. Okay? Because it's going to drive people out to vote that are commonsensical. And they're going to be like, oh, well, let's vote for the commonsensical people. Right? And what I said, I mean, the Seattle Times asked me, he said, look, we like you, which is great. But why would we give such a powerful senator up for you? And I said, look, if you go outside the door in Seattle and you like the crime, and you think there's no drugs and your children are safe and their education is great and you have great growth, keep voting for Maria. We are wired to admire career politicians. Guys, coming from Cuba, I could tell you that I don't think our founding fathers in this country wanted that. I think they wanted a carpenter and a bus driver and a doctor and a teacher to go there for a few years, bring in their ideology, get out, go back to your profession. And how do we win? I guarantee you, and this is as solid a guarantee as I can give you, if every voter in the state of Washington knows our story and Maria, we will walk in this election. So I need your help in getting that out there. Don't be afraid to talk to people that don't have your ideology. Tell them about our campaign. Some people call me the Republican unicorn. I said, well, being a unicorn is pretty good. It's just, just listen. Get me in front of them. Get our message out there. And if every voter knows it, we win. I'm not going to need 10 million. We just need enough to get to every voter. So yes, money is king in politics, just to get the message out. I've spent a lot of money in my own campaign because I want the citizens to understand that whatever they give me is just to get the message out. It is not for extra expenses. I've flown to Florida and to Texas for support. I funded that myself because that's not what you're paying for. You're paying to get that message out, and I want to be true to you. And I'm going to continue to do that when I'm a U.S. Senator, to be frugal with our taxpayers' money and get more money in your pocket so you could share it in the community and we could grow. That's Economics 101. All right, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.